What is up? Merry Christmas. Hope all of you guys had a great Christmas. Tell you what, we're so blessed to live in this country. I always talk about that. Man, commercialism run amok. I'm going to play some stuff for you in a little while. Christmas hauls. And I was talking to my wife about this. These people, these people, chat. Yeah, these people. They go on and they talk about all of the stuff they got for the holidays. And it is crazy. I feel like I'm always kind of spoiling my kids a little bit every once in a while. But man, nothing like this. Ain't nothing like this. Like crazy stuff. It was like, and then I'm super excited because I got everything I ever dreamed of. And my dad bought me a castle. It's just stuff like, and I got a deed to a ranch. And because I got oil wells.
And if you told me I'm really good, if I'm really, really good, I can have servants next year.
Yeah, that's literally what it's like. It is insane. But I will tell you, there's one common denominator in the entire thing. The looks. Not a lot of 400-pounders on there. Again with that. I'm just saying. I'm pointing it out, kids. I'm pointing it out. It's nuts. Then on the other side of it, the shop. I mean, we shopped. It's the beauty of America, man. We shopped till we dropped. And now we're doing something crazy, which we're taking stuff back in mass. And everybody is changing the way they're doing that because there are so many new rules. And so many people took advantage of stuff in the taking back stuff. Like Costco. So I saw a guy a couple weeks ago. Costco is got that, we'll take anything back forever. And somebody brought back that, that TV way back in the day, the $5,000 giant TV that really isn't giant in today's world.
The big cabinet with your stereo in it too. And
the guy took it back 15, 20 years later, and they refunded his money. It was like $5,000 because that's what they do.
That's sweet. I'm going to start doing that. I'm going to go buy furniture, and once it's outdated, I'll take it back to Costco.
Oh my God, it's just nuts. But we did shop. We shopped big time, and there's still deals to be had out there. And there's no doubt about that. And we're going to talk about that. A lot of stuff to get to today. But first, cable news. I want to touch here because this is, everybody said cable news. Cable news is not dead. All right, it's not. You know what cable news is? It's exhausted. We're all exhausted in this world right now because of the 24-hour news cycle. Media is so many different things. It's fractured. It's become everything that is whether it's television, whether it's radio, whether it's podcasting, it doesn't matter what it is. It's everywhere. And people are like, well, it's over. It's not over. But people are tired. And the data says it.
After more than 2 years of presidential campaign coverage, Americans say they're mentally exhausted and that political news is the last thing they want to watch. Americans say they need a break, and based on the cable ratings, they're following through. A new AP poll out this week found that 65% of Americans say they need to limit their media consumption of politics. That includes 72% of Democrats, 63% of independents, and 59% of Republicans. That's higher than the number of people who want less of other topics, including overseas conflicts, the economy, and climate change. The ratings reflect the desire for less. Since the election, primetime viewership is down 54% on MSNBC and 45% on CNN. Fox is up 13%.
Of course, Fox is going to be up. They've won. But on top of that, Fox is a lot of different things. Because here's the thing. So you can watch Greg, Gutfeld at night, right? He's everything. The Five is everything. Is there politics? Of course there's politics. Is it pop culture? Of course it's pop culture. It's not just that. They offer things that are different. They offer harder news during the day that's just basically news. They offer their other stuff throughout the night. And they've got better trust. Here's the other thing. It's a big deal. They got better trust. People believe them more. If Trump would have lost, you know what wouldn't have happened? Their people wouldn't have left. They wouldn't have. They wouldn't have abandoned them. They'd have been frustrated because we're all exhausted. It's exhausting. You know what's crazy is having been blessed to live elsewhere in the world is people are always fascinated by our politics. The fact that our politics is entertainment. It is never ending. when it comes to things like races. The reality is 2+ years of this last presidential race, but it really wasn't 2+ years. It was far more than that. It was. The last race that ended and finally ended was still being debated, still being fought over. Then you had January 6th, and then you had the rebuild of Trump. You had all of this stuff. We never end. We don't. And being in other parts of the world, watching them going, all right, well, we're going to have a snap election. You're like, what's a snap election? Yeah, they've got like 60 days to come up with somebody, and they throw them out there, and that's the way. It's crazy. But we became exhausted, and we continue to be exhausted. But to think that it's going away, well.
In an interview with the AP, 45-year-old Ziad Onella from San Diego summed up why he's no longer watching. Quote, I felt they spent all this time talking about the election. They made it so much of their focus, and when the main event ends, why would people want to keep watching? Viewers are also tuning out because they don't like the product, which they described as shallow and one-sided, and made them feel like they're being yelled at. Here's what people say would get them to tune back in. Start talking about the issues and stop talking about Trump. Get both sides and do more research. Although getting a better product may be difficult, over the last few years, all 3 cable outlets have cut staff and budgets, so the remaining employees are trying to figure out how to fill the 24-hour news cycle with less resources.
That's an issue. There's no doubt. But here's the thing about the resources thing is, when I hear that, and you know, Bell and everybody else who does this, being in radio for as long as we have, the less resources has been a thing forever in our business, in a lot of businesses. Plus, as things get better, technology and the whole 9 yards, that stuff can be filled.
I'm sorry, I just got a memo. You're going to need to do the show without the microphones now.
That's very much radio. I've been places where like that, where they're like, is there any way we could just run commercials on a station just all day? I had not a program director, a higher up in a station one time say that. Can we just have a station that just runs commercials? And I thought, my goodness, you're nuts. But the fact is, people want to talk about life. That's it. My show that I've been doing for my other show, my national show for years is, I call ourselves the exhausted majority, right? Vast majority are conservative. Some are very conservative, but they're also exhausted, being bombarded 24/7, the anger 24/7. They're looking for other things. They want to talk about life. Issues do matter, big time, and they have their belief in issues. But for the left, and this is why they have failed, is they focused on a singular individual and made him the monster, partially because they have nothing else. You know, when COVID hit, and the cluster I was working out in Phoenix, I'm still on there at nights. One of the things that the guy that ran the station, great guy, just one of the top-notch guy, he's now running everything there for them. He said to me, you guys have stuff to talk about on the talk station. You've got COVID, you've all of this stuff. I mean, you know, obviously it was just happening. He goes, let me tell you what I'm going to find out now. How good my sports guys are. Because the station was full of sports talent. Like, they had a sports station, and it was full. It was nonstop from 6 in the morning till 10 o'clock at night. There were shows. And he says, I get to find out who's got talent. Because they're going to have to talk about other things that aren't sports. They can't just rely on sports. They're going to have to come up. And you know what? Many of them crushed it. Some of them didn't. And they're no longer there. That's the issue with the left. The left failed because they turned somebody into a monster because it was all they have. They weren't going to come on and talk about how bad Biden was. They weren't going to talk about issues because it may not favor the things that they want. Their thing was, he's more interesting than anything we're going to be able to do. They were watching not because of the people on the television, not because they were being entertained. They were watching because they hated the guy, and that was their common denominator. And now people are saying, if you want to have this common denominator, that's fine, but you're going to have other things. And we're going to want to talk about real things. And you can't lie to us anymore. You can't try to scare us anymore. That was, if there's anything to be taken away from all this stuff, again, these people aren't going anywhere. It's just morphing into other things. It's how do you make yourself interesting? How do you take something that maybe you disagree with and make it interesting, or maybe you do agree with it and make it interesting? How do you entertain? First and foremost, that's the number one thing. And I always tell everybody, right or wrong matters very little if you're not entertaining. I can be right 100% of the time, and you won't listen if I'm boring. And I can be wrong some of the time. And if I'm entertaining, I'll come back. And that's life. And they forgot to entertain because they were full of vitriol. They were full of hate. They decided this is what they're going to do. And I'm reading an article yesterday, CNN's like, you know what we didn't do? We didn't come down hard enough on Trump. And I'm like, my God, are you tone deaf? You are tone deaf. You're not listening. You're not reading the room. And you know what? If you need to come down on him because he's done something that's real, that you say this right here, this can't, that's fine. I got no problem with that. If Trump does something crazy, I'm going to call him out. But not because I don't like him, but because he did something that I disagree with or I think is vehemently wrong and vice versa. Your goal was never to ever entertain. And that's why people got frustrated and left. You lied to them. You lied to your audience, which you could never do. You sold them a bag of goods. And then when that bag, by the way, as I've talked about, when Trump won, it was the greatest thing that ever happened to them. Because he sticks around. He ain't going anywhere. And they know eventually those people are going to come back. And that's what we're seeing on all the data. Because I've got a lot of people I work with who send me data. Those people are coming back, but they're not coming back until after the 20th. Because right now there's nothing for them to do, nothing to talk about. They're still licking their wounds. But they're not coming back because Morning Joe's interesting or because Jake Tapper's somehow got some comedic, oh my gosh, he's a comic. Ah, God, he's crazy. No. In fact, if you go look at the numbers, the number one person liked on CNN right now, Lonely Scott. Lonely Scott. The struggle is real. They were super excited in the back end of stuff on their business model because Trump won, because it will give them 4 more years to do the things. Their business aspect of it, when it comes to NBC in particular, that's a whole new world. CNN's going to be CNN. They'll figure it out. And they're actually online. CNN's doing really pretty damn good. It was the other stuff that they're struggling with. So much stuff to get today. It's not going to be just politics. We got some pop culture. We've got some fun. We got some immigration and the battle of the visas. So you got Vivek, you got Elon, you got MAGA people are mad at this person. This is happening. This is called growing pains. This is good. Everybody's trying to figure out their space. And you're thinking, what are these visas? What are they about? Who gets a visa? Who doesn't get a visa? Should we be bringing more people in here who can do certain things? There's a lot of stuff to talk about there as well. And the Christmas hauls, they're funny. And you're going to hear some of them. You're going to think, my goodness me. My goodness me. Some of you out there, you'll understand because you have kids or grandkids. And you're thinking, did I spoil them too much? Yes, I think we are. Next year, my kids are getting nothing. Lumps of coals. That's all you guys are getting. And then you know what my kids would do? They'd turn them into diamonds because that's what I trained them. My name's Chad Benson. This is the Chad Benson Show right here at Supertalk 99.7. Board Capital 2025, not too far away. You are ready for retirement? Maybe, not quite. Sure, maybe, Chad. I don't know. What do you want to do with your life when it comes to retirement? Retirement is different for everybody. Some people literally want to do nothing. Other people want to take that one thing they've always dreamed of and turn it into something. They want to volunteer more. They want to give more. But you've got to be in a position where life is good because you've taken care of yourself. Bulwark's going to help you with that. Board Capital is going to help you with what they call a risk review. They're going to go through your retirement account. They're going to look at all the things that you are doing. Where are you at risk too much? Where are you in a situation where you're not doing enough for your growth? And show you how they get there. Give you a roadmap. Measure twice, cut once. I want you to call them today. Get a free risk review. It doesn't cost anything. Worst case scenarios, you're going to learn a little something. 866-779-RISK. That's the number, 866-779-RISK. Or check out everything they do at knowyourriskradio.com. That's KNOW, yourriskradio.com. Investment advisory solutions offered through Trek Financial LLC, an SEC registered investment advisor. Investments involve risk and are not a guarantee. Past performance doesn't guarantee future results. Trek 24378.
All right, got part of I-24 shut down in Murfreesboro. The right shoulder is blocked, 24 westbound there at Church Street. They have just opened it back up, but so they've got everything moved off to the right shoulder, but it's still a 42-minute delay, 24 westbound through Murfreesboro there at exit 81. Got a brand new crash popping up in Goodlettsville, 65 southbound at mile marker 100. And we had a fatality this morning, at least one person killed, and the road is still closed for the crash investigation. Port Royal Road between Jim Warren Road and Saturn Parkway in Williamson County. Tennessee may be able to resume lethal injection executions. That story and more at 12:30 on Supertalk 99.7 WTN.
The flight taxiing for takeoff when it suddenly returned to the gate after the crew learned of an unticketed passenger on board. This incident happening within weeks of a woman being arrested for stowing away on another Delta flight from New York to Paris.
People have gotten on not only by getting through TSA without the proper credentials, but also getting on the airplane twice is too much.
Delta saying in a statement its employees followed procedures to have an unticketed passenger removed from the flight and apprehended.
How? How are you getting on? I mean, and by the way, that lady, they've arrested her, I think, twice now. Like, what is going on that you're squeezing through security? Is there no security? I thought TSA. I thought there was a big thing about TSA, right? Like, we're going to have TSA. They're not going to let anybody on. It's going to be great, right? They take grandma over to the corner, and they strip her, and they search for everything because she's going to explode. You never know when grandma's just going to explode. And yet somebody manages to wander on. Excuse me?
The flight taxiing for takeoff when it suddenly returned to the gate.
So you got a flight taking off, okay? And they're like, whoa, we got somebody standing. Excuse me? How did this person get here? How is this person on an airplane? You didn't notice that? They're in the bathroom? Like, where's it? This isn't somebody who got into the wheel well kind of thing. They wandered through the stuff to get to that point.
Well, he must have been a sweet talker, Betty Crocker, because I couldn't imagine how you could ever do that.
He's a sweet talker, Betty Crocker. What do you think of that there, Bill?
What blows me away is that these people have no capacity to do this job generally.
No.
And if you're thinking about this in terms of security and things being safe, would Taylor Swift hire any of these clowns?
No.
Would Donald Trump, when he was a citizen?
He had them. Then they got shot, and they're like, we should probably get real ones.
Oh, that's a good point, too.
But, it's a look. Right? Like here's why it's never going to happen again. If you really want to worry about what's on an airplane, worry about the people who are putting stuff underneath the airplane, the baggage. That to me is more terrifying. Nobody will ever hijack a plane in America ever again, or probably anywhere in the world, because everybody knows if somebody does that, you're just going to go. We're going to go. We're going to do it. We're going to fight. It's never going to happen again. It isn't. Just isn't. It isn't going to happen again. The underneath is the terrifying part. I don't know who's under there. And then, of course, you had the plane being shot down. Let's not pretend Russia didn't shoot down that plane the other day, because they did. Have you seen some of the stuff? Have you seen the videos, Bell?
That's the second time they've done this during the Ukrainian war, too.
Yeah, the first one, they killed like 300 people. This one, that guy managed to, because let's be real, was it Kazakhstan? Is that what it was?
Azerbaijan.
One of those. They were going from Baku to Grazi. And Baku, big city, by the way, very European. And they were heading over, and they got shot. There's no doubt. There's shrapnel. And the people that survived, which, by the way, let's hear it for this pilot, right? Like that's the pilot you want in life. You ever get on an airplane, look at a pilot, and think, I'm not sure. Then you get on another one, and that guy's like, that guy, if everything fell off, he's landing the plane safely.
Yeah.
It is crazy. But that guy landed that plane enough. It landed upside down, and I think 29 passengers survived, which is insane.
Any crash you can walk away from, that's a good day.
Yeah. And did you know now, I don't know if you guys saw this, the number one thing that kills passengers is
the TSA?
Missiles.
What?
Missiles. Missiles are now the number one things that kills passengers on airplanes.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's not a good look. It's not. They've done this a few times. There's been some issues, right? Was it Russia back in the day? Can you remember this when they shot down the South Korean flight?
Yes.
Yep.
Yes.
Good God.
Which we finally admitted after years is that we actually were, or the South Korean Airlines pilot actually flew into Russian airspace, and they thought it was an attack.
Yeah. It was a Cold War. Different times. Different times. And I remember as a kid, well, not as I was younger, but I flew the day or 2 days after Lockerbie.
Oh, wow.
And I was flying from, London back to America, and you kind of take that route and you go over it, and it was insane. It was terrifying to think about, what happened. But it's what's under that should worry you, not the TSA. You don't ever have to have anybody there again. Nobody's getting on an airplane with anything that's going to stop because nobody, you or I, we're all willing to, to fight to the death at that point because we think you're going to take it over and crash it. You're not interested in taking this and flying it to Cuba and holding us hostage or flying, there's no more Idi Amin, so we're not worried about that.
Yeah, what do you have to lose but your life?
That's it. Because the reality is you're going to take this plane and crash it and kill us anyways.
Yeah.
So let's go down with a fight. So that's why it'll never happen again. But underneath, I do worry about that. My name's Chad Benson. Appreciate you being here. It is Chad Benson Show. It is noon to 3, and obviously Matt kicked off his yesterday. And we really get started in earnest next week. Matt and I, we're just stretching right now, just getting a feel and lay of the things. But there's going to be some fun stuff. Really start next week. It's going to be different, but it's going to be fun. I promise you that. Entertaining, absolutely, 100%. A lot of stuff still to get to today. Some of your comments as well about the movie we were talking about with Chris earlier, as well as the media and entertainment and how they've lost that. So many other things to get to on this beautiful 27th of December right here on Supertalk 99.7.
.30 on the dot. I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. And 24 has been reopened going eastbound in Murfreesboro. Got that crash just past Joe B. Jackson Parkway, moved off to the shoulder. Right now, that is a 17-minute delay. And then we've got a stop and go from Bethel Road in Goodlettsville. This is Sumner County. Crash reported 65 southbound at mile marker 100. Tennessee may be able to resume lethal injection executions. The State Department of Corrections says it has completed a review of the protocol, which Governor Lee ordered 2 years ago after what was called a technical oversight, which might have allowed expired, compromised, or untested drugs to be used in 2 previous executions. So this new protocol announced today will use one single drug, pentobarbital, instead of a 3-drug mixture like before. The Tennessee Supreme Court is responsible for scheduling execution dates, and the Tennessean says none appear to have been set as of this morning. Prosecutors in Brooklyn, New York say they are confident they have evidence for charges of murder in the first degree against the illegal immigrant accused of burning a woman to death on a New York City subway. Sebastian Zapata faces first and second degree murder charges. First degree arson charges, too. This is Brooklyn District Attorney Eric Gonzalez.
On the murder one, the top charge is life without the possibility of parole. And of course, on standard murder, the top count is 25 years to life.
Zapata expected to appear in court for arraignment on January 7th. Meanwhile, authorities are using advanced fingerprinting and DNA evidence to try to identify the woman who was burned beyond recognition. Word from the Biden administration of another military assistance package to Ukraine. That's the latest news. Weather is next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News.
That guy's going to go to jail forever, lighting a human being on fire. What the blank are you thinking, brother? You know what, though? And we talked about it when it happened that day, as horrible as it was, that lots of video of it. Where was everybody in that situation to help out? And one of the things that's been brought up is everybody's first thing they do in today's world, pull out your phone. I'm going to get likes. It's going to go viral. I'm going to get this. I'm going to get that. I may get on the news. These things are going to happen. Look at me. Oh, goodness, this is going to help. Ever since they put the camera on the front of the phone, the world's changed because it became about me, I. And this guy he's got an extra place in hell that he is going to. But the reality of so many people in today's world, if there's a fight that breaks out right now and you know somebody's going to get clobbered, how many people actually step in and say, no? Very, very few. Because you would miss the opportunity to film it, which would miss the opportunity to go viral, and you're more interested in being the director than anything else.
Mayor Eric Adams suggested federal charges against the man accused of setting a woman on fire on a subway train and fanning the flames. But the Brooklyn District Attorney Eric Gonzalez, announcing the indictment of Sebastian Zepeda, says he thinks a conviction is more certain in state court.
On the murder one, the top charge is life without the possibility of parole.
Zepeda, who authorities say entered the U.S. illegally, is due in court January 7th.
And this is a guy who had already been deported once and came back in. And it is awful. And then think about this for a second.
We're working on trying to go back and trace when she entered the subway system and exactly, if there's a clear shot of her face.
They still haven't identified her. Like, that's how bad she's burned. When you're at the point where not even dental records are helping you, that is how horrific it is.
Many investigators are working to identify her. Her body was badly burned, and so advanced fingerprinting efforts are being made, as well as advanced DNA evidence.
It's just horrific. It is absolutely horrific. And so many people took video of it. There are numerous videos out there from this side, from that side. Now, some of those people may have showed up later. Still, think about this. If your first instinct in a situation like that, where you're seeing a human being on fire, is to not use your phone to call 911, but to video it, is insane. What do you tell your friends? Hey, Bill, did you see that video of that person on fire? I filmed that. How about that, huh? Look at me.
Yeah, it's pretty disgusting.
What do you guys think of those apples? I filmed that. That person was on fire, and I took a film. That's what people... And that's, the beauty of
what happened to the person? I'm not sure. Let me go check.
I don't know. Enough about that. Let's talk more about me. That thing's got 900,000 views, and it's got 50,000 likes. Who likes that? There should be a disgust thing. It's a weird world, man. It is. It is a weird, weird world. No doubt about that. Speaking of weird world, the MAGA battle is going to happen. If you guys don't know what this is, there's a battle going on now about visas. You got Elon Musk and Vivek. You've got what people do we allow in here? What people don't we allow in here? And this is going to be a big thing because we have a lot of people that are here on visas that are foreigners that do a certain job. Could Americans do those jobs? In some cases, yes. In other cases, no. We just don't have enough of them. Americans do that job. There's just not enough of them. And in some cases, it's a financial thing. But this is the battle that is going on. And I've said this. This is what's supposed to happen. Like, people are like, oh, it's already happening now. They're already fighting and going at each other. You're going to have that. It's growing pains. Right? You've got success. Things are happening. There's going to be growing pains. I got news for you. I win $1 billion tonight. We're probably going to have some growing pains along the way with some what should we do kind of things. It's going to happen.
So Elon Musk and Vivek Ramaswamy in this particular case, I think, are exactly right. America's ability to attract talent from around the world is basically our economic superpower. The fact that, in particular, we've been able to attract high-skilled immigrants quite reliably in this country over the past century or so is why we have this enduring leadership in science, tech, and business. So just as an example, of all Fortune 500 companies, about half of them were founded by immigrants or the children of immigrants. And of the Nobel laureates, American Nobel laureates who have received prizes for the hard sciences this century, about 40% of them are immigrants who came to this country.
Absolutely. That is a huge win for us. And when I heard them say, we need to vet people who come here. Absolutely, we do. But we also need to want to get people to come here. Partially, two reasons. First, we're not having kids. All right. I got news for you. We can sit here and talk all day. You want to know what China's biggest downfall is going to be in the next 50 years? They don't have any kids. They're not going to have kids. They're not. They're not going to create children, which will keep their economy going, which will keep them going as a society. By the end of this century, 75 years from now, at the rate they're going, there'll be about 300 million people there.
Just to throw this in, this is a great example of how horrible central planning is, but they had they used to only allow one child per couple.
Yes.
That was a law. And those couples tended to let the female babies just die because they wanted boys.
Yeah. It's a sausage party right now.
Yeah, it's China did that to themselves.
Oh, well, absolutely they did.
Their lack of population growth was brought on by central planning.
Yeah. Well, and the other thing, and he's right. Like, I was going to bring up the sausage part, but that's what it is. The girls, they weren't. Now girls are coveted. Like, if you have a girl now, whoa, that's huge. But this is what's going to cost them. We're not producing kids. And our kids that are around, they don't want kids. So I have three brothers and sisters that are of kid-bearing age. One of them has had two. They're awesome. And I love them to death. My other two, my little brother, my little sister, never having kids. They don't want kids, want anything to do with kids. Doesn't mean that they won't one day, but right now it isn't happening. I didn't want kids. Then one got by the goalie, and go, lo and behold, I have a son. I wish I would have had him when I was much younger. I had him when I was 40. And I love kids. But the reality is life is too expensive for a lot of people. And I think it matures you and it helps you in ways that you don't really understand. But we're not having kids. So part of it is bringing people here that are going to do some of this work is absolutely needed. There's no doubt about it.
So again, this is our superpower, and I'm very glad that Musk and Vivek Ramaswamy recognize it. I very much hope that they are able to influence Donald Trump on this particular issue, but I'm doubtful about it because, just as you mentioned, in his first term, Trump was actually quite hostile to legal immigrants, in particular, by the way, high-skilled legal immigrants. He made it really hard for them to come here, not just those who wanted work authorization, international students who cross-subsidize American students, by the way. He basically harassed them and made it very difficult for them to keep their legal documents in order. That's because, as much as Trump has said, he only objects to illegal immigration, he's very much in favor of legal immigration. His policies don't bear that out, and that's partly because Stephen Miller is the one who was the architect of Donald Trump's immigration policies.
That's not as they love to spend stuff. There's no doubt that, look, Trump is not in favor of mass immigration, but there's going to have to be some. And there are still plenty of people out there that won't do certain jobs. And, we talked about this the other day. It was like, well, Americans who do those jobs. Well, Americans haven't been. And those jobs have been there. Whether it's working at a canning factory or picking fruits and vegetables, those jobs are available. Why aren't Americans doing them? They want more. But a lot of what they're talking about here are these visas that bring you here for things like IT, things of that nature. You know, we've got that big CHIPS Act. It's great. Like, that's one thing I could look at Biden and say, fantastic. We need that. We have way too much stuff that's produced in a part of the world that is unstable, even though it looks stable. Taiwan, right? You got China. It looks somewhat stable. The reality is one thing that goes sideways, it could get ugly fast. If we opened up these big factories today for these chips like Taiwan has, we don't have the manpower to do it. We don't have the people with the knowledge and the skill level to do it. We're going to have to import those. There's a lot of stuff that needs that because we haven't focused on it. Part of it is we send kids to school, to college, and we tell them take out $100,000 in loans, and you can go be anything you want to be rather than pushing them in directions. One of the things I would love to see is things there are needs for. We need engineers. We need computer science. We need these things. Those degrees should be virtually free. If you want to be a humanitarian studies, right, and you want to have a minor in interpretive dance or gender studies, that should cost you $250,000. Well, that's not very fair because you can't get a job. Exactly. Because you can't get a job because there is none of those jobs available because nobody wants to do those jobs. Well, there's a few people that want to do them, but there's no call for them. But we need engineers. We need doctors. We need pharmacists in a big way. That stuff should be cheap. Push people in those directions. Absolutely. Give them the opportunity to go, so you know what? I would love to minor in interpretive dance, but they're going to pay for me to go to pharmacy school. And that's going to be virtually free. I'm going to come out with no debt, and I'm going to get a job that's going to pay me $120,000 a year, whatever it is to start. Oh, and I'll have security. And we need that. I mean, we got to be smarter about this, but I tell you what, if we don't, you can't get mad that companies have to import people to do jobs that not only Americans would love to do, they haven't focused on it. We haven't built it up. We haven't made it a priority to fill these positions through school because we made school so ridiculous. There are a lot of things that have to happen. And so these growing pains, these fights that you see, Elon Musk and Vivek and them, and they want to do that. That's growing pains. The reality is we need certain people here until we can fill those positions and until we start dangling a donut, not a carrot at this point in time, in front of people to get to those positions, to make those things affordable. You're going to see more and more people imported here that can do coding in certain ways, that can do certain things that Americans just can't do at this moment in time because we've decided we haven't filled those positions because we allowed kids to go to school and just follow their whims and their dreams. And My name's Chad Benson. It is the Chad Benson Show. Starting the 2nd is a kickoff in full. People were texting me, go, so when it's the show now. It's the Chad Benson Show now. But starting the 2nd, we got some fun stuff planned that's going to be crazy. It's going to be different than probably what you're used to. But it is going to be politics, pop culture, all the things that is life. Got some of your texts coming in about the guy who burned that lady and killed her, but mostly about the reaction of people while it was going on. And one individual in particular, that a lot of people say this person shaped things in a much different way. We'll talk about that, bunch of other stuff to get to. It is the Chad Benson Show right here on Supertalk 99.7. MyPillow right now, deep discounts on all the MyPillow products going into the new year. Little things can go a long way for you. I got the classic MyPillow still on sale, $14.88. Deep discounts on the mattress topper, which is amazing. The incredible, and I do mean incredible, slippers and sandals, especially this time of year. Absolutely incredible. And they've got towels. They've got sheets. These Giza bed sheets are incredible. I mean, these are just little things you can do for yourself that goes a long way. But the classic MyPillow, the thing that started it all, lowest price ever, $14.88 right now at MyPillow. 6-day money-back guarantee and a 10-year warranty. You go to MyPillow.com/Benson to take advantage of this and all the other deep discounts they have at MyPillow. MyPillow.com/Benson. MyPillow.com/Benson.
Murfreesboro got a crash blocking the left shoulder, 24 westbound, right before Joe B. Jackson Parkway. In Bellevue, the right lane blocked by a crash, 40 eastbound, after exit 196. Goodlettsville, crash reported there in Sumner County, 65 southbound at mile marker 100. And then 40 eastbound near the airport, exit 215, the right shoulder blocked by a crash. And then back in Rutherford County, right shoulder blocked 24 westbound at exit 81. Tennessee may be able to resume lethal injection executions. This story and more at 1 on Supertalk 99.7 WTN.
The slogan in this city is, if you see something, say something. But no one said nothing. No one did nothing. They just watched this young lady burn on fire alive.
That's a reverend right there, Reverend McCall. Nobody said anything. Nobody did anything. I mean, I don't know how busy the train was. I don't know some of the specifics of that, but there was enough people to take film, right? There was enough people of that people could film it, do all these things. It's crazy. So you have a woman burned alive on a subway by a guy who just decided, for whatever reason, to light her on fire. I don't know why. I don't think anybody knows why. Somebody who's here illegally, who's been tossed out once before, came back, obviously, no fear of any repercussions, and decided to burn a person alive. And what's everybody's first thing they're going to do? Pull out their phone and film it. And everybody's like, well, the Daniel Penny thing. It's not even about the Daniel Penny thing. Because this person was on fire. Nobody was saying to go beat the guy up. But how about make an effort? Like, how about that? Nobody was saying, because if I'm standing there and see somebody's on fire, I'm not thinking, I don't know who did this. I'm thinking, oh, God, what can I do to help? What can I do to help?
How can I put this out?
Yes.
What can I do to keep him from setting somebody else on fire?
Yeah. But see, the thing is, if there's a bunch of people, I have no idea who did it, but I do know that that person needs help. How do we get to that person to help them? Not, hey, let's pull out my phone.
I know you're unconscious, but could you wake up real quick just so we can refilm that part where your arm went up in flames?
Jiminy cricket. And that was it. You got a reverend going, nobody did anything. Nobody did anything. Well, yeah, they did. They did the thing that helped them. How can I make this about me? Have you ever seen a star die and people will post a picture of the star and then rest in peace? Because it's about me. It's about me. It's just, we are the me culture. We've come that way. And Daniel Penny, yeah, you may not see people stop a situation like that. This wasn't the same situation. This was something completely different. This wasn't the potential of that. This had already happened, and nobody did anything. And I'm not saying if you showed up 3 minutes later and she was already gone, you could. But the thought is everybody filmed it. First thing. And that's everything in today's world. My name's Chad Benson. A lot of stuff to get to next hour. Christmas hauls, what are those? Some stuff about the airplane that was shot down. Chad Benson Show, Supertalk 99.7.
One o'clock on the dot. I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. Heavy rainfall, damaging winds, lightning, maybe even a tornado are possible tomorrow afternoon into early Sunday morning. We're going to be dry rest of the day today. Give you more details during the full forecast in 5 minutes. Tennessee may be able to resume lethal injection executions. Governor Lee ordered them paused 2 years ago for a third-party review after what officials said was a technical oversight, which may have allowed expired, compromised, or untested chemicals to be used. Today, the State Department of Corrections announced the 2-year review is over. It will no longer use a 3-drug cocktail for lethal injections, only 1 drug moving forward, pentobarbital. The state Supreme Court is the one tasked with resuming lethal injection executions. The Tennessean says as of this morning, there are none scheduled. Brooklyn District Attorney Eric Gonzalez says investigators are working to identify the victim of the New York City subway attack, burned alive beyond recognition and believed to have been homeless.
We're working on trying to go back and trace when she entered the subway system and exactly, if there's a clear shot of her face.
It says they're also using advanced fingerprint and DNA technology. Brian Clark has more on the criminal case against the alleged killer.
Mayor Eric Adams suggested federal charges against the man accused of setting a woman on fire on a subway train and fanning the flames. But the Brooklyn District Attorney Eric Gonzalez, announcing the indictment of Sebastian Zapata, says he thinks a conviction is more certain in state court.
On the murder one, the top charge is life without the possibility of parole.
Zapata, who authorities say entered the U.S. illegally, is due in court January 7th.
Money news. Credit card debt expected to hit record levels as Americans are on track to set a spending record this month. Credit card balances are already at record levels in this country. 36% of Americans went into debt this holiday season, one recent report found, leaning on credit cards to purchase gifts. At a time, 8.1% higher than a year ago balances were. 28% of credit card users had not paid off the gifts they bought last year. Mortgage rates ticking higher heading into the new year. The average 30-year fixed mortgage now up to 6.85%, meaning monthly payments could be a couple of $100 more than they were under September's rates. Here's Elizabeth Schulze.
Rates are expected to stay in this 6% range next year. And a key reason why is that those rates move in anticipation of the Federal Reserve's moves. The Fed's now saying it's going to be a bit more cautious about cutting rates next year, but still glimmers of hope for buyers in 2025. We've also seen some homeowners who have been waiting to move starting to accept that rates are unlikely to go back to that really low 3% level anytime soon. So it would finally free up homes for buyers who have been sitting on the sidelines.
That's the latest news. Weather's next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News.
Little thunderstruck indeed. Will he be billionaire struck? So none of us won because we're still here. None of us won the big one.
You don't know that.
I do because they're having another drawing.
No,
They're keeping it super secret?
maybe I won and I just didn't want to collect yet.
Well, yeah, but they're still doing it.
I don't believe that's just a cover.
It's the conspiracy, the new conspiracy. Yes, kids, it's still here. The opportunity.
All the lotteries are faked.
It's all fake. Nobody's real. They're all fake. They're all stooges.
This morning, the Mega Millions jackpot swelling to an estimated $1.15 billion, another historic drawing set for tonight. A winner could take home the 5th largest prize in Mega Millions history. There were some big winners on Christmas Eve. 4 new millionaires, each a mega ball shy of the grand prize, though.
A mega ball shy. Think about that. A mega ball. You're 1 mega ball shy of being close, probably 400, 500 million after all was said and done?
Ray Wentworth Cadillo also missed the $1 billion Powerball jackpot in 2023, but she still won life-changing money.
I scanned our tickets from the previous night on the app, and it had all kinds of confetti, and it said, you won $1 million. We won $1 million. That's life-changing.
That is life-changing. I was thinking about this the other day. What is life-changing money? To somebody, $1 million, it's life-changing in a major way. To others, 50 grand may be life-changing. To some, $1 million is, it's whatever. I got a lot of money anyways, so it doesn't really matter. I mean, I'm not going to say no to $1 million, but I mean, it's different levels of life-changing, right? Like one of them is, this is great. Now we're really comfortable. I could retire early. For some people, it's like, oh my God, I needed this more than anything. For other people, it's like, oh, that's great. I can buy a new watch. Yeah. I mean, $1 million isn't what it used to be. Isn't that weird to say? But it's true. But there's the opportunity still today. A couple bucks goes that much further if you win. By the way, they're going to be raising it next year.
Tonight, another chance for players to begin 2025 as a billionaire. Mega Millions calling 2024 the most unusual jackpot year in history, with only 3 grand prizes won, but all of them in top 10 territory. That includes the $1.3 billion winner from New Jersey who finally claimed their prize this week after 9 months of mystery. The odds are steep to win the jumbo jackpot, about 1 in 302 million. For Ray, her odds were steep too, about 1 in 12 million. She had just lost her job when she scanned the lucky ticket.
It really felt like somebody was looking out for me on that one.
All right, and buy your $2 tickets before the calendar turns, because in April 2025, the price per play will more than double to $5, which lottery officials say will lead to bigger jackpots and better odds, but it doesn't really matter because I'm going to win tonight.
Yeah, whatever. Andrew Dybert from ABC. Now, look, here's the thing. They're saying that because it starts in April next year where it's $5, that this lottery would be close to $3 billion with that kind of money. Because at that point in time, you're walking away with $1 billion.
Well, and don't forget, when somebody wins that money, you can't forget to start hating them immediately because they're a billionaire.
Yeah, you got to.
Because obviously for them to win, they have to be very evil people.
Only if they're white, though.
Well, that's a good point.
Only
and
if they're
straight.
white. Here's a question for you, Bill, because we were just talking about it. And I'd love for you guys to chime in on the text line, 615-737-9986. What is the life-changing number? Like what's because like somebody won $1 million. That is life-changing. But for some people, it's life-changing like you cannot believe. For other people who are already comfortable or have something, it's maybe not as life-changing as, it's great, but it's not, oh my God, kind of life-changing.
Well, that also comes from financial education and having a clue about saving and investing and stuff like that. Because if you're already comfortable enough that $1 million doesn't make that much difference, you're probably already pretty good with money.
Yeah.
And if $1 million is going to be super life-changing for you, you're probably not that good with money, and the odds are you're going to blow it.
Yeah. Odds are. Don't. Even if you want $1 million, be so smart about it. I had a family friend. They won like $3.5 million. And she was really smart with it. And it was crazy. that, she kept it very quiet. She paid off her kids' loans for schools, got them each down payments for their houses, and then invested the rest of it, and she was pretty smart with it anyways. But I've seen people. I saw a guy, I did some work for a guy one time. He won $2.1 million at a casino. And he said, first of all, the biggest mistake is, the craziest, he goes, I wish I would have won $1.8 million. Because you got to a certain level, and then all of a sudden different things start to happen. They come after your money in different ways. He goes, it was more of a nightmare than you could ever believe. And I'm like, oh.
Well, but it's also kind of found money. You can't really, you're playing a game of chance and you win millions of dollars. What, are you complaining about the taxes now?
Well, you're playing because you want to win.
I mean, taxes are evil, but let's be honest.
Yeah.
It's like you're just a lot better off than you were before you won.
Oh, yeah. But playing, you're playing to win. Let's be real. Nobody's playing tonight to lose their $2. You've got that thought.
You don't know that. It was burning a hole in my pocket, and I had to get rid of it.
Several of you have chimed in. I got some on the DMs through at Chad Benson Show. That's my Twitter and Instagram. Some people said 10,000 would be a little life-changing. Others said 150 grand. Seems to be like that $100,000 kind of thing. You get that. That does seem to change a lot of lives. It's just, look, it's all of it's found. You win $5, you're found. It's great. That's fantastic. Found money. But what is that thing that would change your life? Interesting indeed. Speaking of changing your lives, we like to do things, and you're going to learn this on the Chad Benson Show. I want to make sure that you are educated in a lot of different things that we're going to have fun with, but understand there are bad things out there and there are good things out there. AI is incredible. It's amazing. We have an AI guy that we're going to be talking to a lot on the show. It's going to show you why not to be afraid of AI, what to look for, how to use it to better yourself, even if you don't do anything crazy work-wise, how it can help you. But the scams are out there.
This video shows a scam in progress, coming right to an unsuspecting victim's front door, all starting with a frantic phone call.
Dad, I had a horrible accident.
Anthony, who asked us not to use his last name, says it came from someone he thought was his son.
It was absolutely his voice.
Anthony says his son explained he was in a drunk driving accident, urgently needed money for bail, and that an attorney would be calling him right away to arrange payment. Anthony separately called his son, but he didn't pick up. The FBI warns these scams using the latest AI technology aim to scare you and take your money.
Now, I will say, video's not there yet, but it's getting closer. Pictures getting closer. Voice is there. And if you've never had these scams, and they're crazy, how good these things sound. But here's something, especially if you're a little bit older. Never, ever believe anything that anybody tells you on the phone that sounds like a family member. Never. Say, absolutely, I'll get the money. Call your niece, your nephew, your grandson, your grandchild, your daughter, your son, then call the police. Because this dude got scammed.
Experts say AI can make these phone calls sound nearly identical to loved ones. In 2023, cybersecurity firm Checkpoint showed us just how easy it can be, using only a 10-minute sample of my voice to generate this fake kidnapping call. Listen.
My love, it is me, Whit. Please listen carefully. I have been abducted and am being held in a basement, tied up in the dark. Please follow their instructions. Do not notify the authorities.
And the FBI says scammers give you little time to think.
One of the red flags or indicators on these scams is this high-pressure bullying tactic.
For Anthony, the scammers moved fast. After a few phone calls back and forth and a trip to the bank, someone was waiting at his door for $9,200 cash.
Now think about this. So, guy went and got $9,200 cash because he's worried. Can't get a hold of his son. So that's the first thing. Can't get a hold of your son. Well, if your son's in real trouble, he'll be in trouble in 2 hours. He'll be in trouble in 3 hours. Right? That's one thing. Your kid's not kidnapped. These are things you have to think about. But people say, well, why would they do this? Because this sounds stupid. It's like the Nigerian prince thing. You know why it went on forever and a day? Because it continued to work. It did. So people will still use it. Some of you are going, oh, man, I felt for the Nigerian. Well, so $9,200, it wasn't over.
This home security camera footage shows a family member handing it over to who turned out to be an unaware Uber driver. But then another phone call demanding more bail money, $15,000. A different Uber immediately arrives at his door to retrieve the payment.
So this guy lost $9,200. Then they said get 15,000 more. I was surprised that people at the bank were like, hey, what's going on, right? You know, we've known you. You're pulling all this cash. What's the deal, right? It seems a little strange, but no. And several of you have chimed in and said, code word. That is exactly it. What's your code word for your family member? It's not that hard. But people, you guys are, some of you are hearing this for the first time. That's what scammers are hoping for. You hear this for the first time. That's what they're hoping for. They are everywhere. The scammers here in Nashville, when it comes to the parking thing, is tremendous. Like, we're seeing that more and more. They're all one step ahead. You have to think now, it's unfortunate that everything is a scam unless you absolutely know the person or know what you're doing and where you are.
Now suspicious, Anthony tries calling his son directly for a second time, and he answers. Then it hits him.
We just got scammed out of $25,000.
In March, an Ohio man was accused of fatally shooting an Uber driver he believed was a scammer who called him demanding $12,000. Man pleaded not guilty to the murder charge. For Anthony, his hope is to help others, encouraging every family to establish a code word.
If there's ever a phone call or any contact, anything emergency, flat out, what's the code word? They don't give it to you. It's not them.
Spot on. Spot on. It doesn't take a lot to get your voice and to redo it. It doesn't take virtually anything. And by the way, that one they did earlier with the Whit Watson guy there, or whatever his name was, that is nothing compared to what, I mean, I've got stuff right now at my fingertips that I could take. I could have Bell do a line or two, and then we could turn Bell into anything we want. Like, it's that crazy. It is nuts.
Can you turn me into a rich man?
That's tonight when you play the lottery and you win $1.14 billion. Are you ready for that? Are you excited for that?
You know how quickly you, if you win the lottery, you go from, with certain family members that, you know, like maybe they kind of like you. You're not really sure. You see them at the family reunions, but you win that lottery, you're going to bump right up to A status, baby.
You will.
They're all going to be wanting to borrow from you.
I was just getting ready to call you. I've been thinking about you and your mom. Like, shut up. No, you weren't. You've been thinking about $1 billion.
Thinking about my bank account.
That's right. But we love you here. I'm new here. Appreciate you guys hanging out with me, but I'm telling you guys right now, we're here to show you all this crazy stuff about AI, the good and the bad. And there's plenty of good out there. Don't shy away from it. Don't be afraid of it. Absolutely embrace it, but be careful. And whether it's video, whether it is pictures, whether it is voice stuff, you have to take everything with a grain of salt. And it sucks that we have to do that in today's world, but that's it. And we'll get better at detecting it. But I tell you what, man, that voice stuff is, I had a lady at the last place I work where her daughter happened to be there, but on the other end of the phone was somebody pretending to be her daughter with like the voice AI. Man, it sounded just like her.
And you got to remember, these guys work on a bulk business. They're just trying to hit as many people, to contact as many people as they can, because they got to find the one gullible person who's not quite as informed as other people are.
And think about this. They got $25,000 in one
one
go.
person.
So
One person.
If you do that 1,000 times and you get two people, you might make $30,000, $40,000 in a day. That's why they do it. That is why they do it. But we're going to keep you guys ahead of the game. My name's Chad Benson. A lot of stuff still to get to. More on the MAGA battle that everybody's all excited. It's not really battles. Everybody needs to calm down out there on the left. You guys still have nothing, so you're grasping at straws. Several of you have chimed in about the money that would change your life. How much would it be? $1.14 billion up for grabs tonight. Who knows what it's going to be when all is said and done. What money would change your life? Is it $100,000? Is it $10,000? Somebody said $1,000 would change my life right now. What is that money? What's that threshold, though, where you're like, okay, this changes everything? Want to hear from you? Love hearing from you. And several of you have chimed in, too, about the horrific New York subway attack where that guy burned the woman. And so many of you are, like me, frustrated with the way human beings are about themselves and filming rather than being a part of stopping something and or helping, which is insane and frustrating. This is Chad Benson right here on Supertalk 99.7. Raycon, best earbuds around. Wear my Raycons every single day. Incredible. Got my family a bunch of Raycons for Christmas. They are just awesome. These earbuds are second to none. First, the fit, awesome. Secondly, the sound quality, incredible. You put the best fit with the best sound quality. You have premium audio at a price that won't break the bank. And on top of that, they all have active noise cancellation. That means you don't find that at this kind of price point. It just doesn't happen. Great colors to choose from. Tons of different things on their website that are awesome, including gaming headphones, things of that nature, speakers. But the everyday earbuds, 8 hours of talk time, 32 hours of battery life, fast charging, just amazing. And a fit, like I said, that is going to blow your mind. 6 different soft gel tips. Put them right in your ears. Boom. Sounds like, incredible, but it fits like a Lego. You don't feel them all day. They fit perfectly. Get the best earbuds around. The everyday earbuds, the ones I swear by every single day because I wear them when I'm doing all my audio stuff. Yes, kids, we're talking about the everyday earbuds from Raycon. Right now, go to buyraycon.com/Chad. Save 25% site-wide. Buyraycon.com/Chad. Buyraycon.com/Chad.
Crashes piling up right now. The right lane block 40 eastbound right before Bellevue. Then we've got in Sumner County, Goodlettsville, 65 southbound at mile marker 100. It starts slowing down there at Bethel Road. In Spring Hill, Williamson County, Port Royal Road still closed between Jim Warren and Saturn Parkway for a fatal crash investigation. 24 westbound in Murfreesboro, the left shoulder blocked right there at exit 84. Then 24 westbound at exit 81, the right shoulder is blocked. So 2 crashes on I-24 in Murfreesboro. We've got the top stories coming up at 1:30 on Supertalk 99.7 WTN.
Consumer spending this holiday season surged nearly 4% from 1 year ago, fueled by purchases online in categories like apparel, jewelry, and electronics.
I am doing some shopping. Some winter clothes.
Some jewelry, some watches for them.
Retailers offering steep discounts to consumers weary of high prices. Those deals helped entice last-minute shoppers, with spending from December 20th through 24th accounting for 10% of all holiday retail sales.
Sales were up, people spending, confidence up. Before the Christmas holiday, I was watching somebody was on CNN, And it got weird into like, this Trump, like the animal spirit and all this kind of stuff. But it's the one thing, when you look at the economy and people talk about inflation, you talk about, they talk about, the CPI, unemployment, this, that. One thing matters more than anything else. All those other things you could throw away. Because the thing that matters most, consumer confidence. If we are confident in the economy, so you and I feel like, hey, I got nothing to worry about. My job's going to be here tomorrow. Life is good. Yeah, it's a little bit more expensive. If you feel that you are doing well, you're going to act accordingly. You're going to spend. You're going to drive the economy. More and more people are starting to realize it is about the feel. It's the economy. If you feel good about it. Because, see, and this is where the left completely missed the ball. People feel good about their jobs. Maybe not so much about the neighbor's job. Not they're here. They feel good because as a business person, whether you're an employee or an owner, life felt okay. You didn't feel like you were going to lose your gig, right? Because you had orders coming in and stuff like that. It's when you switch the hat and put on the consumption hat. That's when life got to you. You didn't spend as much. You were holding out. You're waiting for, could this go down? Maybe next time. It's too expensive for now. It is about the confidence you feel. So you could feel good about your gig, but if you don't feel good about everything, you're not going to spend accordingly. And the reality is that's what we want to drive the economy, is that. We need that. We need that to push people forward, to drive the economy. Because if you're spending because you feel good about it, you're not going to lose your job. Guess what happens? Things start to take off. Things start to pick up speed. And since Trump came in, people feel better. They feel like it isn't going to happen tomorrow. And I think a lot of people realize that. But they feel that while there may be some short-term pain, long-term, the gain is going to win. Now, when it comes to shopping, first and foremost, if you're going to be out there, one of the things they're telling you is taking stuff back, which a lot of people are doing. You got to do it fast because these places now have all these return policies because so many people took advantage of lax return policies that everybody's looking for a way to protect themselves.
People that buy things online, they return at the average rate of 40%. So online retailers are pretty much aware that people will be doing a large amount of returns.
I got to be honest, man. Depending on what it is, I don't return it online. It's like somebody's getting a new gift or I'm throwing this away. Right, Bell? Did you do the same thing?
I don't throw it away. I tend to kind of stash it and go, maybe this would be good for a regifts at some point,
I just, because I don't want another errand. Like, I don't want to go to find a Kohl's or wherever you got to take something back and stand in line. I don't want any of that stuff. I'm just, you know what? Like I said, regift it or it'll sit in my closet. Maybe I'll get thinner or maybe I'll get bigger, whatever, whichever way it goes. Maybe that ugly sweater will come back in style.
Once you start delaying that return, it gets harder and harder for you not to just get into the store, but also, some of the deadlines could be shifting that you're not aware of. And especially if you don't have a picture of that receipt or you're not reading the fine print, that becomes problematic.
Yeah. So get there early and often. You probably have till this weekend to get the best part of it and understand now that a lot of people are also doing the restocking fees. Even if you haven't taken it out of the box or anything, they're going to restock it. So because they're trying to save money because so many people took advantage of lax return policies. Shame on you. Love hearing from all of you. Text at us. A lot of you have been texting in about what life-changing money would look like for you. Some of you, it's as low as $400 because you're in a pinch right now. Some of you, it's $500,000. You want to buy a little house, have a little bit of land. What's that life-changing money? We're $600 million is what it's close to tonight for the cash value. You're probably going to walk with about $450,000. That life-changing money for you, Bill? Could you live off that?
Yeah, because I'd have Paul Winker to help me invest it, and I would be in good shape.
That's right. And he told us last week he's only going to live off $150,000. And then the rest of it is eventually just going to evaporate to the state because that's what he does.
Yeah, but can you imagine living off $150,000 a year when all your other bills are paid?
Yeah, it's great.
It's crazy
Like,
money
that'd be great, but
once you don't have bills.
Yeah, but why not live off $1 million at that point in time?
Because I don't want to end up being poor again.
Well, if you have $600 million, you're not going to live for 600 years.
Dude, I have watched these lottery winners
Yeah, but they don't
time
win that
after
kind of money.
time after time. There was a guy that won over $500 million in the lottery. It's all gone.
Wow,
it's all gone because he wasted it all. And I would much rather give it to somebody smarter than me and go, make sure I don't have to work with this money and just let it start working for me.
There you go. You heard it from Bell. He's got it all sorted out for you. A lot of stuff still to get to here. It is Chad Benson right here at Supertalk 99.7.
I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. There have been some changes in the potential for severe weather here in Middle Tennessee. This is Channel 4's Stefano DiPietro.
The severe threat has expanded across more of Middle Tennessee, now including areas like downtown Nashville, Cookeville, Salina, down through McMinnville. The timing has also changed to about the late stages of the afternoon at the earliest, and also right into the middle of the night. 1, 2 o'clock, things should start to taper off. Widespread heavier rainfall, strong to an isolated severe thunderstorm. Gusty winds and even an isolated tornado can't be ruled out as of now.
But that is tomorrow after 4 o'clock. The rest of the day today, we're going to be dry. We'll give you details on that forecast again here in 4 minutes. Tennessee may soon be able to resume executing condemned killers by lethal injection. Those on death row in Tennessee have a choice. The last 3 chose the electric chair. None by lethal injection since 2022, when Governor Lee ordered a pause due to a mix-up which may have allowed expired, compromised, or untested chemicals in at least 2 executions. Well, today, the State Department of Correction announced it has completed its review of the lethal injection protocol and is determined to use a single drug, pentobarbital, moving forward, rather than a 3-drug mix. It's up to the state Supreme Court to schedule execution dates, but the Tennessean says as of this morning's announcement, there were none. Brooklyn District Attorney Eric Gonzalez says investigators are working to identify the New York City subway victim who was burned beyond recognition and believed to have been homeless.
Many investigators are working to identify her. Her body was badly burned, and so advanced fingerprinting efforts are being made, as well as advanced DNA evidence.
The illegal immigrant Sebastian Zapata, charged in the case, is expected to appear in court for arraignment on January 7th. That's the latest news. Weather's next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News.
Great song right there. I like it. Lots of money up for grabs tonight. Get to the convenience store early and often.
Lines will be long at the convenience stores and supermarkets where tickets are sold and where players are making plans, both practical.
First of all, I'd probably give me a really good tax attorney.
And extravagant.
I'm buying businesses. I'm buying up blocks. I'm buying an island.
The drawing is at 10:59 p.m. Eastern Time tonight.
That's how you blow your money. You probably know nothing about business. Why are you buying a business? You probably know nothing about running an island. Why are you buying an island?
Because I have billions of dollars and I'm spending it.
Oh, my goodness. You got to be smart with it. I mean, but there's a reason that people are in the position they're in. I mean, it's fun. You know, I'm blessed. I can throw some cash at it. You know, Bell's blessed. You can throw some cash. You're not going to starve from it. Some people are hoping and praying and, you know, but don't want to do something stupid with it. I mean, don't do what Bell's going to do. It's like, I'm going to spend $1 a year, and that's all I'm going to spend.
Hey, that's $1 a week.
I'm going to spend the rest of it. I'm going to hide it and put it underneath my bed and bury it in my backyard.
I'm not going to hide it. I'm going to give it to a financial advisor because I don't want to be 70 and broke.
But those 70 years, man. Imagine those last, like, you know, you could live crazy. But you would really have to be an idiot to blow that kind of money.
Well,
I mean, you'd have to be so wasteful. And you see it a lot. People win it, but most of those people win $5 million and they give everything away thinking it's never ending.
Well, when you don't have financial skills, and a lot of Americans don't because we don't teach that in school. It's more important to indoctrinate the kids. But if you don't have financial skills, no matter how much money you make or how much money you don't make, you're not going to handle it wisely because you don't understand the world of finance and the world of savings and the world of investing.
Yeah. That's why that guy's out there going, I'm going to buy all these businesses. You don't know how to run a business, bro. You don't. Guy said he's going to buy an island.
You can buy it all day long, but if you can't do anything with it, it doesn't matter.
Just be smart with it. You know what? You could stick it in stuff that will give you enough money to live off comfortably forever. If you won $400 million after taxes and you stuck it in something that was just going to give you like 3% a year, you have nothing to ever worry about again. I mean, you're talking about $100,000 a month, essentially, is what you would get. You would be more than fine. And Bell and everybody else out there, split all that money up to several different investment people because there was always that worry, you know, in life. You want to be able to, this person's going to have.
You know what? That's something I'm ignorant on. It's like you only got a certain level of federal insurance on any given bank account.
Yeah.
So what do you do to protect that if you can't put, what is it? Is it $500,000 or $250,000?
$250,000, I think.
So you can put $250,000 in any given account and it's protected. But if you've got, well, first off, I guess a lot of this, but most of wealth is quote unquote wealth is tied up in ownership of property or stocks and things
bonds,
like that.
Things of that nature.
And money is wealth, but wealth is not always money.
No.
And people forget to think in those terms.
Yeah. So, and you spread it out. You put it in places. You don't have it in one place. And good financial people will tell you that, you know. But you just it's not that hard, but people make it hard. And the part of the reason is like Bell said, nobody knows, right? You've been poor your whole life. You've only ever been around poor people. And so what do you have? You're going to make mistake after mistake unless you're smart about it and understand, okay, this is what I need to do. I need to not be really involved in that kind of decision making. As far as yes or no, this is what I'd like to get, but I don't want to be involved and I'm going to go out and buy all these businesses.
The smartest thing you can do as a winner of any large sum of cash, don't let people know you won.
No.
Because they're going to come out of the woodwork. They're going to tell you how you really ought to take care of them. The other guy doesn't matter. And, you know, they're going to do right by you. You know what? Just pick up your check, create a trust fund that can take the money so the name will be hidden behind the trust fund. And then just...
That's it.
Don't keep your mouth shut.
And live and move far away from them.
Yes.
And the other thing, and this is... And I don't care if you're going to be a country star, a rock star, you're in those things. The number one word that you need to learn is no. Can I have? No. Can I borrow? No. Can I? No. No. They may be your friends. They may be your family. They may be all and those they're friends out there. You're going to go, look, I'm always going to take care of this guy. This guy's been with me. He's been my ride or die for life. She's been my ride or die. This is my family. That's different. But you've got to say no to everybody else.
Yeah, buying your parents a house after they took care of you all the way up through, going to college is not necessarily a bad thing. But you have to be smart about the way you do it.
Yeah. Tennessee is a forced identity state. Someone just said yes, and that's what you and I have talked about, the trust. Set up the trust because
Correct.
It's just a trust that won it.
Yeah, because as soon as you walk in as an individual and you hand that ticket over and they go through the verification process, they're going to send a press release out.
Yeah.
Say so-and-so from, Mount Juliet or Madison or Henderson. And you don't want that because then everybody knows to come after you.
Yep. And the pictures and all that stuff. And, wonder what's the lag time you think of let's say we win tonight. I go turn it in tomorrow because I just don't want it in my hands, which that's the other side. But you go and do that. What's the lag time you think of when you get the money?
Honestly, I don't have any clue, and I've never even thought to look it up. But if I had to just venture a guess, a month.
Yeah, would it be? I mean,
because the money's there. I mean, the pool exists because of people buying tickets.
That wire transfer.
So anything that they go through, they put you through before you get the money, is them just making sure they can tax you on it.
Yeah. And I don't know how the tax situation works as far as they're going to take 35%. They take it first. Okay. So then that money's transferred. Is it in 24 hours? Is it in 48 hours? Is it I want one of those big novelty checks. I want to see them try to swipe it through that thing. 400 million. Won't it be cool though, going to that ATM machine? 400 million. No more insufficient funds.
Yeah, but you'll drain the ATM dry before you can even hit 1% of that.
Oh, my goodness. Just having fun. It's okay to have fun, guys. Okay to smile. Speaking of smiling, there's a battle in the world of MAGA. It's a good thing.
Musk and Ramaswamy were advocating for visas that bring in highly skilled workers from abroad to this country. It's something that's mainly utilized by tech companies like X in Silicon Valley. And they sort of got attacked from all sides, even within the MAGA base. There's sort of this one online very pro-Trump figure attacking Elon Musk for that view, saying it goes against Trump's immigration policies, which of course are looking to deport people, not bring them into the country.
Different people. Let's be real. What they're talking about are people that are highly skilled in areas that we do not have enough skilled workers. And one of those is the IT world. We have enough, but not enough in some of what they're looking for. And the other is in doctors, things like that. We just don't have enough. We don't. And so we have to fill certain areas. And you're going to go find people, right? It's the same thing for people who are working down in the construction world. And that's that. But the thing is what they're looking at is a much different kind of person being brought here. These are people they're seeking out. And several of you have chimed in and said, well, if it's at the expense of American jobs, then no. But if we cannot produce enough people to fill these jobs, like I said earlier, the chip manufacturing is a perfect example. So when I was out in Phoenix, in Arizona, that's where they're building essentially the Taiwan superconductor chip company, the big company. They're building their big, giant, huge factory out there. If they were to open today, there is nobody. We don't have enough to fill it. Nationwide, we wouldn't have enough to fill it. You're going to have to bring people here as well as train them. And we're going to have to do some of those things. And there is a need. But if we have enough, then why are you bringing people here? Well, that's because you are going to pay them less. That's the thing. And that's the frustration that people feel. A couple of years ago, there was a guy that was a IT guy from Disney, and it was tough listening to him give his speech at a hearing because he was essentially being told, you're training the dude that's taking over for you.
I walked into a small conference room with about 24 highly respected fellow IT workers. The Disney executive made a harsh announcement to us all. All of you in this room will be losing your jobs in the next 90 days. Your jobs have been given over to a foreign workforce. In the meantime, you will be training your replacements until your jobs are 100% transferred over to them, And if you do not cooperate, you will not receive any severance pay. I was completely silent during this meeting, thinking how this was going to affect my coworkers. How was I going to break news to my family and pay all of our expenses? I would soon be living on unemployment. Later that same day, I clearly remember going to the local church pumpkin sale and having to tell the kids I couldn't buy any of that here because of my job, but being turned over to a foreign worker.
That's a no. We all agree on that. If you need to fill 100 and you put out an application process for a bunch of people and you get 8 back and you can't fill those, that's a different story. I got 92 jobs. I can't fill them. It's been up for months. That's a different story. But if you have people doing the job and you're getting rid of them because you're now going to bring in somebody, instead of paying them $100,000, you're going to pay them $50,000 and they're going to be happy to work there and they're going to do anything you ask, that is a much different story. That's not what we're talking about. And I think a lot of people out there are thinking, well, we're just going to import. No, we should import need. It's like tariffs. If we make it here, guess what? We're making it here. Yeah, absolutely. And our competitor won't let us sell ours there, and they want to sell theirs here, then we tariff. If we don't make it, then no tariffing. Why would we tariff something we don't make and we want or need? That's silly. But if we make it, then why shouldn't we tariff? It's the same thing. If we have a need, especially in certain skilled positions, 100%, let's do it. If we don't have a need, but people want cheaper, well then, no, that shouldn't happen. Sorry, that's a different battle that's going on. And part of that has to do, I also think, with college. Because as I said, and I continue to say this, we need to fix college in a way that incentivizes people to go and follow these career paths where we're going to have need. And part of the problem is we live in a world now where we teach where we're at. We need to teach where we're going, which are two separate things. And we have too many kids who are allowed to pick things that they should not be doing, that aren't going to benefit society in any real way, shape, or form. Like I said, interpretive dance sounds like fun. Make it an elective. Make it fun. But it's not a career, except for 2 people who are teaching interpretive dance. That's it. Somebody's going to chime in a minute. What do you mean you can't interpretive dance? If you've done interpretive dance, let me know. I'd love to hear from you. My name's Chad Benson. This is Supertalk 99.7. Ruff Greens, ruffgreens.com/chat. So you go to ruffgreens.com. What is it? It is a supplement. Powdered form, amazing. Absolutely incredible. That you do what? You sprinkle on top of your dog or cat's food. It's going to help them in ways that are incredible, including aches and pains in their joints, including things like lethargy. Maybe your cat's dog struggling. Our cats, we give it to both of our cats. We got a new cat now. We have a cat that's a little bit older. He struggled with allergies. No more. Took off the cone of shame, living his best life. Maybe your dog struggles, a little bit older. They got some aches and pains in their hips. They're a little bit just slower in life. They've got some issues with their stomach. Try Ruff Greens. They're going to send you a Jumpstart trial bag for free. It's not going to cost you anything except shipping. It's a $20 value. You can get this by going to ruffgreens.com and using my code CHAD. That's ruffgreens.com. Use code CHAD. You can try Meow Greens for cats or Ruff Greens for dogs. It's powder supplement. Sprinkle it on top of their food. Watch what happens. Ruffgreens.com. Use code CHAD. Ruffgreens.com. Code CHAD.
65 southbound at mile marker 100 in Sumner County. Still got a traffic accident being worked. It's stop and go starting at Bethel Road. Now in Donaldson, Lebanon Pike and Donaldson Pike got an injury crash. Still in Rutherford County, left shoulder block 24 westbound before Joe B. Jackson Parkway, exit 84. And then we've got another one westbound at Church Street at exit 81. Tennessee appears ready to resume lethal injection executions. We'll tell you about that and other top stories at 2 on Supertalk 99.7 WTN.
In the case of the Panama Canal, specifically the president there sort of firing off some shots to President Trump, saying that, he doesn't have an official government yet, but that once he does, they can have real official conversations about it. So, Donald Trump does like to think of himself as a deal maker, as someone that can, make deals that maybe other people don't necessarily want at first. So does he think he's going into office to try to start some negotiations here? Possibly, but right now that door seems pretty closed.
So he wants the Panama Canal back. He wants Canada. The Canadians are there right now, by the way. He wants Greenland, right?
The Canadians going to have to move, though.
Yeah.
We'll let the Quebec. Those can stay.
Yeah,
the
Quebec. He wants a lot of stuff. I'm here to make deals. I don't think.
Why don't we just tack on Taiwan and say it's all ours now?
That's a little close, right? China would never let that happen because that's too close. It would be like China saying Cuba's ours. Well, that's too close for comfort.
Well, these days it pretty much is.
It is. Well, they can have it. By the way, they're not paying attention to it. It's a hot mess. But it's like, so he's back to wanting Greenland, and he wants to make Canada state, and he wants to have the Panama Canal back. We'll see how any of those work out. I think mostly what he's doing is trolling, and then the reaction of the media is hilarious. And I'm all for that. Indeed. Got some of your texts we'll get to next hour about immigration. Some of you are angry at me, not quite understanding what I'm saying. Not quite getting what I'm saying. Lost in translation, I guess. That's right. Exactly. Thank you very much, Andy. A lot of stuff still to get to next hour. The media as well, and more on winning $1 billion gazillion tonight. It is the Chad Benson Show right here on Supertalk 99.7.
Two o'clock on the dot. I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. We are tracking the potential for severe weather tomorrow. We'll tell you more about it during the full forecast in 5 minutes. It seems Tennessee might be ready to resume lethal injection executions after a 2-year pause. Governor Lee ordered a third-party review in 2022 after it was learned the state wasn't following protocol and may have used expired, compromised, or untested chemicals on at least 2 death row inmates. Today, the State Department of Corrections announced the review is over, and it has decided to use a single drug moving forward, pentobarbital, instead of the 3-drug mix before. It's up to the state Supreme Court to schedule executions, but as of this morning, the Tennesseans said there were none using lethal injection. Those on death row in Tennessee have a choice. The last 3 executions were by electric chair. Brooklyn District Attorney Eric Gonzalez says investigators are working to identify the New York City subway attack victim who was burned beyond recognition and believed to have been homeless.
Her body was badly burned, and so advanced fingerprinting efforts are being made, as well as advanced DNA evidence to identify her.
Meanwhile, the illegal immigrant charged in the case, Sebastian Zapata, expected to appear in court for arraignment on January 7th. Back here in Tennessee, police identify the suspect in yesterday's deadly workplace stabbing at the Kroger Distribution Center in Memphis as 55-year-old Anderson Todd. He is charged with second-degree manslaughter. Witnesses claim Todd and the victim, 38-year-old Jacoby Hobson, were arguing over football when Hobson invited Todd to an area where there are no cameras to fight. But Todd allegedly refused. Hobson then allegedly pulled Todd's cap over his eyes, and that's when the argument became physical. A witness attempted to break up the fight, claims Hobson backed away and collapsed onto the floor, having been stabbed multiple times. Reports say Todd then walked into the break room and waited for police to arrive. Hobson was pronounced dead at the scene. That Kroger Distribution Center It remains closed today. With a Mega Millions jackpot topping $1 billion, lottery fever taking hold in the 45 states where such gambling is legal. Jim Ryan says people in the 5 states that have passed on statewide or multi-state lottery programs are playing nonetheless.
It's a 1-hour drive from Jerry Whitt's home in Nevada, where the lottery is illegal, to the truck stop at Hallelujah Junction, California, where it's legal. Winning $1 billion?
It'd be nice, and I still don't know what the hell I'd do with it.
Alabama House Minority Leader Anthony Daniels would like to see his state legalize lotteries.
We're hopeful that the Senate takes the bull by the horns.
For now, lotto players in Nevada, Alabama, and Utah have to jump the state line to buy a ticket. Easier said than done in Alaska and Hawaii, where it's also forbidden.
That is the latest news. Weather's next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News.
MyPillow right now, deep discounts on the MyPillow products, like the classic MyPillow. Now you're saying, Chad, what kind of discount is it? $14.88, lowest price ever. And this includes the size you want. So you get the classic MyPillow. And the size, I mean the fill. Do you want a lot of fill? Do you want no fill? Really just a little bit? What is it you want? Some people really want a stiff pillow. Some people want something a little bit more flat. It's up to you. $14.88, lowest price ever. Top of that, deep discounts, slippers, sandals, the dog beds. They've got amazing, incredible sheets, towels, and the mattress topper, which is my favorite thing in the world. But the classic MyPillow right now, $14.88. A little thing can go a long way in your life. And when it comes to sleep, do not settle for less. Made right here in the United States of America. 60-day money-back guarantee and a 10-year warranty right now. Get this by going to MyPillow.com. Use code Benson, MyPillow.com. Use code Benson. $14.88, lowest price ever for the MyPillow Classic. MyPillow.com, code Benson. Yeah, baby. 2025, we're not too far away from it. Week from now, we'll be in it full bore. And immigration, obviously, is going to be big. Starts on the 20th. The moment he takes the oath of office, Tom Homan out there doing his thing, ready to roll. And, of course, the battle's going to be there. And, of course, it's a perfect time for everybody to go, Trump's mean, Trump's evil, Trump's bad. And we were just talking about immigration, illegal immigration. We've been talking about legal immigration earlier. And I think some of you missed the point when we're talking about foreigners that are coming here who have a specific set of skills, right? As our good friend Brian would say, right? In that movie, I've got a specific skills to make me a nightmare for people like you. Those people aren't being trained in the United States. That guy that we played earlier, he was training them on this is how this job is done. They know what they're doing. They already know how to code. They just weren't bringing people here. This was a few years ago. And so I think that the misnomer is that everybody that comes here on one of these visas is they have no idea what they're doing. They just picked them off the street somewhere in India or Pakistan or somewhere, and they brought them here, and they're like, you're going to learn how to do this. No, those people already know what they're doing. They're just being trained. Like, you know what you're doing, right? If you're a mechanic and you go get a job across the street, you know how to fix the car, but they may have different ways they invoice, different ways they do certain things, how they sell stuff, what they do. You're learning that. You know how to do the other stuff. That's what those people that Elon Musk and Vivek and stuff were talking about. He wasn't talking about the mass illegal immigration and the abuse of our system that we have seen for the last umpteen years, really long before even Biden took over. But since Biden took over, my God, has it been insane. And starting day one, it's on like Donkey Kong. It's our buddy Ali Bradley over at News Nation.
So we know those mass deportations are going to start on day one. And according to the borders, there may not be any safe places to hide. So when Tom Homan and I talked, he said he and his team are actually going through ways that they can work around laws that prevent them from entering churches and hospitals. These are places that are historically off limits to immigration officials, but they want to be able to go in and arrest undocumented immigrants. Now, Homan says they are finding exceptions for extreme cases, and they will not hesitate to go in after them.
We're looking at the policy now, but there are exceptions to that policy even as they exist, especially if it concerns a significant public safety threat or significant national security issue. There are waivers that people can go into those sensible locations. We're looking at the sensible location policy yet, not done, working on it, but we'll see where it comes out.
Yeah, we're going to see where it comes out. Do I want Tom Homan and any of them busting into a church or a hospital? I don't. Sorry, I don't. If that hospital is harboring somebody who is a terrorist, a criminal, somebody who's done something, that's a different story. Same thing with the church. And to be real, I don't know what churches are asking people. I don't know what hospitals are asking people. I don't know any of those things. I don't know how you find out that stuff. I think for some churches, in particular places like California, which, you've got, San Diego County's already come out and said, we're going to do everything to defend everybody that's come here illegally. So everybody's going to, whatever, fine. And by the way, there's a better way to do this than just going in and busting in. It's hold as much federal money from them as you possibly can and watch them struggle. That being said, what are you doing harboring a terrorist? What are you doing if indeed you are? Now, for doctors and nurses, I don't expect a reverend to turn somebody in if they don't know who that person is. If they do know, I would expect and I would hope that that person would be saying, hey, you need to leave. You cannot be here because you're putting other people at risk. The media is only going to run with, they're going to bust in and they're going to kick down the doors and they're going to punch a doctor in the face. Then they're going to go over and they're going to kick right in the grundle of reverend, and they're going to take everybody out of there, and they're going to throw them over the border, which is a bunch of crap.
While Homan says that the sanctuary jurisdictions do make it a little more difficult and create some roadblocks, he says that they are not going to stop the administration from carrying out their mass deportations. He says by supporting sanctuary policies, they're only inviting more arrests. Take a listen.
If you force us into the neighborhood to find a bad guy, we're probably going to find others that are with him, that aren't a criminal priority. But guess what? They're going to be arrested too. If they're in the country, United States, or they're in the United States illegally, we're not going to turn a blind eye and walk away. More agents have to go in the community, and more people are going to be arrested. That's not a threat. That's just a reality. If they don't want to protect their communities, then the Trump administration will.
Which is, again, I have no problem. Do I want them breaking into churches, if you will, kicking the door down, coming in, raiding? I don't think anybody wants to see that. And in some of the counties where they're already coming out and say we're going to be a full, like the city council can go past anything, talk about anything, but the sheriffs and many others inside the community are saying, well, we're not going to be that way, which is great. But what he's also saying is that lady that's coming here with her kid and she's applied, for asylum, or maybe she hasn't, that lady that's over there that's being helped out, that lady, she's going to get swept up into it. Why? Because you wanted to protect one And in doing so, you're going to see many get in trouble, and that's a you problem.
Right now, there are currently 13 states across the U.S. that have sanctuary policies in place.
Will be interesting to see how this all shakes out. And Allie, there's already a clash with the president-elect's deportation approach and leaders of sanctuary cities across the country. What's Homan saying there on that front?
Yeah, so we've already seen a lot of community leaders come out and say they're going to buck the incoming administration's plans for these mass deportations. But we've also heard the incoming administration say, well, we're going to use the power of the purse. We're going to go against their economies, and we're going to basically cut funding from these cities that don't play ball. So America First Legal actually put nearly 250 elected officials in sanctuary jurisdictions on notice. They notified them of the legal consequences for interfering with or impeding federal law enforcement and for intentionally concealing, harboring, or shielding people that they're looking to remove. Now, these consequences are not limited to public officials. Anyone who violates these laws is going to face ramifications, according to Homan.
Which is smart. The power of the purse. Now, the power of the purse is going to come in the second year because the first year, the federal money's already doled out. That already ends. So you guys know when you're talking about a fiscal year, we're talking about the end of September. So that stuff's already gone and done with. But coming after that is when you can come hard. And when they start losing funding on top of everything else, that's when stuff matters. When you hit them in the checkbook, that matters. And yes, figuring out how to get around some of these places that are going to try to do everything. But that also comes with the people that live there. And I think this is where these cities are going to find that you're not going to have the support maybe you think you do. Because they're looking around and seeing people get things that Americans aren't getting. They're looking around and seeing people get stuff that they're going, whoa, 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 you're taking that out of our money. For our kids, for our community, and you're giving it to other people who shouldn't be here. And when those voices get loud enough, trust me, you're not going to have to worry about whether or not Tom Homan and Trump are going to do anything, because that's when the community starts to do the thing that absolutely destroys these politicians. They vote for others. We
will prosecute the subject who has violated that law. Now, again, that's something the U.S. Attorney can work out, but we have laws on the books that we're going to enforce if we need to. Again, they cannot assist. They can stand by and watch and not assist. That's on them. No violation of law. But if they knowingly impede, if they knowingly harbor and conceal, there are statutes on the books that U.S. Attorney will consider.
And the knowingly is going to be a tough thing. If you've got 50 or 60 people that are in your church or in your hospital, you don't know who some of these, but they're giving you a fake name, that's going to be tough to prove. That is going to be tough to prove. But if you are, I don't care who you are, if you're a doctor or a nurse, a reverend, and you know you got, because I think you know, a doctor, it's a weird thing, man. You know, they're going to say HIPAA. I can't violate HIPAA. I can't do this. I can't do that. That's tough to get around. But if this person's a killer, oh, absolutely. You're not telling you anything about that. I don't care about their health, right? Fix them up. Fine. We're not asking that. Do you have this person? Because this person here is X, Y, and Z and has done X, Y, and Z. He's been accused of X, Y, and Z. Just like if somebody was to go and horribly drunk drive, kill somebody, end up in the hospital, but nobody saw anything, and the police had a suspicion, you're not telling them about that. I bet you they'd be like, well, this person did what? Oh, and they ran over so-and-so, but they're all Americans, so yeah, we can snitch on them. If you're not going to do that because of immigration, you're going to be in trouble. And the trouble's going to come, again, over and over I say this, the power of the purse will get people to pay more attention, because the more that it affects the people downstream who are already mad, they're pissed and angry because they're seeing people get gift cards, and they're seeing people get hotels, and they're seeing people get vouchers, and they're seeing people get things that they need in their community. That is going to anger people. And when that starts to anger people, they change the way they vote. We saw this in the last election.
Now, Marky, this all comes as San Diego County just recently voted to become the first sanctuary county in the U.S. Now, what's really interesting here, too, is that the sheriff there is saying that they're not going to cooperate with blocking ICE from coming in to their county that they are going to cooperate with the Trump administration. Now, when I've talked to sheriffs down here along the southern border, they say they're not going to block the incoming president's plans. They're not going to stand in the way. But here's the reality, Marky. They don't have the resources to really be effective in helping either. That's their concern down here on the border. And we've been reporting on that for years, that they just don't have the resources. So how can they jump in and support this effort either? They're kind of reeling with that fact right now, Mark.
Yeah, and I think they're going to have a real struggle with that. And that's the thing we've talked about for a while since I've been here in Nashville is hanging out. And a lot of my friends coming from Arizona are Border Patrol agents, and we play a lot of pickleball together. My neighbors were all Border Patrol agents. One of the things they talked about is just no resources. And, you know, where are we going to get those resources? Well, some of that's going to come eventually from federal funding, maybe taking away from states and cities. But that's still going to be a year out because once that money's promised, it's in, there is no pulling that back. You're going to have to find a more creative way at first. The second year, yes. But it's going to be, you're going to have to come up with creative ways. This is going to be frustrating for a lot of people. I think a lot of people are going to want stuff done immediately. And I think you're going to find the power of our laws and the way that we've set stuff up. And a lot of you are chiming in. These people are here illegally. If you've applied for asylum, you're not in the country illegally. You're not. You've got a hearing, and they allow you to stay in the country while they review your case. That's not illegal. It's a lot of people, though, who've overstayed, a lot of people who've failed to get asylum and refused to leave. Those are the people they're going after first, on top of criminals and whatnot. So this will be interesting to see how it plays out. But I'm telling you, the power of the purse is going to be big. And the fear factor, you're going to see a lot of people self-deport. You're going to see a lot of people self-deport. And the other thing is, Holman and them need to absolutely make sure that businesses are a part of this. Meaning you crack down on businesses that hire people illegally, that may be here on asylum, but they do not have the right to work and you've hired them. You need to crack down on businesses and send messages. Now, if somebody's lied, they've given you false information because you can't ask certain things, that's not on them. But for a lot of businesses, you got a couple hundred workers, right? You know this guy's not named Jerry Smith. Right. What's your name? Tom Johnson. I really don't think it is.
John Brown.
That's a John Brown. Here we go. Abraham Lincoln. I don't think you're Abraham Lincoln. It's very interesting. Where are you from? Iowa? I'm thinking no. A lot of stuff still to get to. Homeless numbers are out. We'll talk a bit about that. And the media. The struggle is real. The struggle is on. Talk about that as well. This is the Chad Benson Show, Supertalk 99.7. Ruff Greens, ruffgreens.com. Go there now. Use my code Chad. You're saying, Chad, what the heck is Ruff Greens? I hear you talking about Ruff Greens. Ruff Greens is awesome. This is a powder supplement that you give your dog and your cat because they got meow greens now, which is awesome. So you go there like for your cat. It's got all this amazing stuff inside of this powder form that you sprinkle on top of your cat or food. I mean, and they've got treats and all kinds of stuff. But this stuff is amazing. It's got vitamins, minerals, enzymes, all of this amazing stuff. It's going to help your cat and dog with little things. Maybe your cat struggles with allergies, right? Maybe your cat struggles with teeth and gum issues. Maybe your dog has hip and pain issues, a little longer in the tooth, lethargic. This will help. This supplement is truly amazing. Now, they believe in it so much that they're willing to do something amazing. They're going to give you a Jumpstart trial bag. It's not going to cost you anything but shipping. That's a few bucks. It's a $20 value. You get it absolutely free. Put it to the test. ruffgreens.com. Use my code Chad. ruffgreens.com, code Chad, $20 value, sent to you absolutely free. You cover the cost of shipping. ruffgreens.com, use code Chad.
Tennessee has announced a new lethal injection execution protocol, and a new report shows a substantial increase in homelessness in America. These stories and more coming up at 2:30 on Supertalk 99.7 WTN.
It's known as the annual point-in-time estimate, a snapshot of American homelessness based on a single night in January. In 2024, the count was 771,480 people, an 18% increase from the prior year and a new record. The Department of Housing and Urban Development cites housing costs, rising inflation, displacement from natural disasters, a spike in immigration, and the ending of certain government benefits that were in place during the pandemic.
Or the truth. Mental illness and drugs. That's the truth. Yes, life is more expensive. You can tighten your belts. There are some people that have issues. But the homeless that most people are talking about are not the people that are trying to get back on their feet in a certain shelter. They've fallen on a few hard times and through medical debt. We're talking about the people that are sleeping out there who on a daily basis you see, who struggle with mental illness, who talk to themselves. That's a vast majority. And it's not because they missed a paycheck. Okay? It's not. It's not because there wasn't affordable housing. It's like, well, if only there was affordable housing, Jim wouldn't have done crack. It's not the way that works. That's the insanity of this. And I have fought this battle in California and in Arizona. Let me tell you, you can't let it take any kind of foothold anywhere because it explodes. And if you give it, they will come. And they'll come in droves. And somewhere along the line, the progressives have lost their blanking mind. They have thought compassion is allowing people to die on the street. Compassion is allowing people to urinate in the corner. Compassion is allowing people to break the law. That is compassion. That is not. That is anything but. It started with Reagan when he started closing all of the, well, for lack of a better term, loony bins. And then what was supposed to expand this thing that Carter and then were putting in place for Reagan, which was, we're going to close a lot of these things, but then we're going to have little areas where people are going to have opportunities, more of a community-based mental illness kind of thing. That went away, and it never got done. Like everything in politics, whether it's immigration, we're going to give amnesty once, or something like this, it never gets done. There's never a follow-through. So what happens? We've got mental illness run amok. We've got people wandering around on subways who have lost their blanking mind. We've got a person in San Francisco whose job it is to pick up fecal matter from mentally ill people. A poop map. They've got a poop map. It's not because none of you listening, if you lost your job today, would go, I got to go crap in the street. None of you would. No, it's because they're mentally ill and they've abused drugs, or vice versa. They abuse drugs and they become mentally ill. And some of them, no matter what you do, no matter what you give them, you can give them everything. You can give them a house, you can give them a car, you can give them a job. They're never going to be able to do it. They're never going to be able to do it. They have no longer the capability or want to do it. Addiction and mental illness are the reason. Not because of inflation. Yes, maybe you've had to downsize. You may have had to couch surf. You may have gotten to a point because of an abusive relationship where you have to stay in the shelter, but you're not staying there and then moving back out on the streets and vice versa. Those people, and it sucks because I've been down to many of these places. I've gone out there and I've worked some of these places, and I've lived in areas where you just can't live there anymore. Because they've allowed it through this bizarre world of it's compassionate to allow them to die on the streets. It's compassionate to allow them to essentially be forgotten because somehow you think it's a lifestyle choice. That's not a lifestyle choice. That's mental illness. It's not a lifestyle choice. In this thought of, well, inflation's up a little bit, meh. You mean to tell me, every one of you listening right now, if you lost your job, that you couldn't borrow a couple bucks here and there, maybe try to get yourself squared away, maybe worst case scenarios, you couch surf on some places? It is, and it sucks because these are human beings and they've lost the plot, and it's the progressives because they've decided to allow this to happen, championed it, and turned a blind eye because it was easier than trying to fix the problem. So we'll just make it a lifestyle choice. It's a lifestyle choice. It's what it is. This place smells like urine because people have made lifestyle choices. Last time I was in San Francisco, disgusting. Vile. The smell of urine was everywhere. You couldn't go outside without 15 people stepping over. Here, it's just, you took one of the most incredibly beautiful cities in the world, and you've let it devolve to this because of lifestyle choices. No. Mental illness and drugs, 99% of it. Bad things happen to good people. Some people get behind. Some people have issues. But what you see mostly, and I mean a vast majority of this, is mental illness and drugs. My name's Chad Benson. This is the Chad Benson Show. Talk a little bit about the media, answer some of your texts when it comes to immigration. And, of course, Matt Murphy will join the program here in a little bit because it's day 2 of the Matt Murphy Show in the afternoons. Again, we kick off fully on the 2nd. That's when we get our groove on. But these are our soft launches here, right here on Supertalk 99.7.
.30 on the dot. I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. Got the full forecast in 5 minutes. Tell you about the low risk of severe weather we're looking at for tomorrow. The 2-year pause on lethal injection executions in Tennessee could be over soon. The State Department of Corrections announced today it has completed a third-party review of protocol, which was ordered by Governor Lee in 2022, and the department's decided to use a single drug moving forward, pentobarbital. Lee ordered the pause after it was learned the state may have used expired, compromised, or untested chemicals on at least 2 death row inmates. The Tennessee Supreme Court will schedule execution dates, but the Tennesseans, as of this morning's announcement, none have been posted. Prosecutors in Brooklyn, New York say they're confident they have evidence for charges of murder in the first degree against the illegal immigrant accused of burning a woman to death on a New York City subway. Sebastian Zepeda faces first and second-degree murder charges, first-degree arson charges. This is Brooklyn District Attorney Eric Gonzalez.
On the murder one, the top charge is life without the possibility of parole. And, of course, on standard murder, the top count is 25 years to life.
Zepeda expected to appear in court for arraignment on January 7th. And a new report from the federal government says homelessness in the U.S. hit a record high this year. Here's Stephen Portnoy with what it says.
It's known as the annual point-in-time estimate, a snapshot of American homelessness based on a single night in January. In 2024, the count was 771,480 people, an 18% increase from the prior year and a new record. The Department of Housing and Urban Development cites housing costs, rising inflation, displacement from natural disasters, a spike in immigration, and the ending of certain government benefits that were in place during the pandemic.
That is the latest news. Weather is next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News.
This is a new thing that's happening in the world of the internet. It's called Christmas hauls. If you got kids, maybe you've seen this. If you're on some of the TikTok world or Reels or Instagram or whatever, maybe you've seen this. These are people who are, how should we say this? Bragging, not bragging about what they got for Christmas.
This is my Christmas haul. First, I got a ring from Tiffany. I didn't ask for this, but I guess it's cute. Now let's move on to what I got from Apple. I got an iPad Pro. I asked for this because I didn't like my black one. I got these purple AirPod Maxes. This is how they look. Then I got a new MacBook Pro, also in silver. I got a Magic Keyboard case for my iPad. This is how it looks. Then I got the new Apple Pencil Pro. Let's unbox it. Gorgeous.
Yeah, she walks through stuff that you could not believe. And I thought to myself, but most of them started out the same way. I'm not here to brag, but I'm so grateful. Let me tell you all the great stuff I got.
Hey y'all, this is my 2024 Christmas haul. I'm grateful for everything I got, and I love my parents so much. And I'm not trying to brag in any way, but I know y'all love these hauls.
Hey guys, I'm not trying to brag in any way, but I just really want to tell you guys something, okay? I'm so grateful. I love my parents. This is awesome. But I know you guys love to hear how awesome my life is. This is what the world is now. There's thousands of these. Like, I'm here to tell you guys something. I'm not here to brag, okay? All right? I'm so grateful and blessed that I got this. Now, I got a Ferrari. I know you love hearing that. It's the world we live in. It's nuts. It's crazy. And it goes back to one of the things that's a theme on the show, which is the minute they put the camera on front of the phone, the minute you could become something, everything went crazy. I'm not here to brag, Belle, but I got a Ferrari. My dad bought me a castle. My mom doesn't do gifts, so she just gave me $100,000 cash. Okay, that's pretty awesome. And so many of them started like, I'm not here to brag, but we opened up our presents last night because we're going to Mexico for like a week, and it's so awesome. My dad got us a jet.
We're going to a resort where the cartels can't even get in.
That's right. It's so awesome. You guys are going to love it. I'm going to send you pictures from there from me in my bikini. That's the other thing you notice. None of them are, how should we say this? 3 or 4 bills. Larger, if you will, right? They're all like, their moms are, even their mothers do the hauls. Like, mom and daughter haul, what do we get? Oh my God, it's so awesome. My dad bought me a tiger. You're like, what? It's really cool.
I got to admit, though, I'm pretty okay with the haul videos when they involve good-looking women in bikinis.
Some of those.
Yeah.
But most of them are in little 90s.
Unfortunately.
Christmas 90s. And they're like, look at me. Look what I got. Okay, this is a burkini bag. It's like $12,000. It's purple. I don't like it. I'm going to probably regift it.
Even though my daddy gave it to me.
Don't tell my dad. I'm like, oh, good God. Just insane. Speaking of insane, politics. But the news cycle itself has been nutty over the last umpteen years. We are inundated 24/7. We are full of doom scrolling. We want affirmation, not information. We are, as Neil McDonough, the actor, put it, we have now subdivided our division. It is crazy. And right now, we've had enough. And the numbers are showing that.
After more than 2 years of presidential campaign coverage, Americans say they're mentally exhausted and that political news is the last thing they want to watch. Americans say they need a break, and based on the cable ratings, they're following through. A new AP poll out this week found that 65% of Americans say they need to limit their media consumption of politics. That includes 72% of Democrats, 63% of independents, and 59% of Republicans. That's higher than the number of people who want less of other topics, including overseas conflicts, the economy, and climate change. The ratings reflect the desire for less. Since the election, primetime viewership is down 54% on MSNBC and 45% on CNN. Fox is up 13%.
Fox is up for several reasons. First, they're more entertaining. MSNBC, full of hate. CNN, full of hate. Hate for the other side, hate for Donald Trump, hate for anybody who supported Donald Trump, and it was evident. Fox was fun. Fox was funny. Fox did other things. They didn't just talk about Donald Trump, and they didn't demonize everybody. Oh, sure, they made fun of people, and you know what? Many of you deserve that on the left. But for the most part, they talked about life. Yes, politics was a part of it. You'd get more talking about Trump stuff maybe in the morning and with Hannity. But then you had the five. They talk Trump, they talk politics, but they talk a lot of different things. Then you get Greg Gutfeld, talked a lot of different things about life. They entertained. I'm here to tell you guys this, right or wrong. Does it matter? Well, you'd like to be right. Most importantly, entertaining. If you're not entertaining, nobody cares. Nobody cares. If you are boring and dull and not memorable, nobody's coming back. Nobody is. They're not. They're not going to pay attention to you. You're going to be entertaining. The left has a group of people that hate Donald Trump. They will come back eventually to the MSNBCs. CNN, by the way, oddly enough, online is doing much better. But when it comes to viewership, no, the people are exhausted. You tried to destroy Donald Trump, and you made him the monster because your goal was, I'm going to be the superhero in this play. I'm the superhero in this, right? Like Superman, we were just watching the trailer for the new Superman. Lex Luthor, without a Lex Luthor, you don't have anything. Without, you need that. Without the Joker, like you got some other, you get Scarecrow, you get Bane, you got other, but without the Joker is the thing that matters. Trump to them is all of those things. Because Batman's kind of a boring dude when he's Batman. Let's be real, right? I mean, it's just kind of, I'm Batman. Am I right or am I wrong, Bill?
No, I completely agree with that. I mean, it's basically a one-note character. Bruce Wayne's the one with all the weirdness and the dynamics and everything going on.
Yeah. But it's just, you need that. And Trump gave them that. The thing is, though, they saw themselves as Superman, as Batman, and they weren't. And the villain won. And which for them is great because they've got 4 years of entertainment, the thing they weren't providing. People aren't coming to them because they're entertaining. They're coming to them because the thing that binds them together is hate. They hate a certain guy. They hate a certain group of people. So that's the thing that binds them together. It's not for entertainment value. It isn't. They're not entertaining. Trump is. I told the story earlier. When COVID hit, talk radio, we had a lot to talk about. Sports didn't. You find out who your good person is, right? Your good group, your best host, when they have nothing to talk about, when there isn't a game tonight, when there isn't a season this year, when there isn't a tournament, you find out, oh, okay, who's good? Who can keep stuff going? Who can pivot? That's what you find out. So when everybody felt lied to, everybody was exhausted, they bounced. Somebody said, what about the streamers? Absolutely. I mean, some of these streamers, David Pakman and several others, they saw a precipitous drop because they were also lied to. And they felt, you guys lied to us. You guys did this. You guys did that. You failed us. But they'll come back because once January 20th hits, they're going to have to go somewhere. Will they all come back? There wasn't a ton there. They had been slowly but surely fading. And then it had nothing to do with, like a lot of people want to make it, it's only because they hate Trump. No, it's just because they were going to other places. It's the other side of it. But yes, that hardcore group that is left will eventually come back. It happened after the Russia thing went away. Remember when it all just kind of, there's going to be no charges, went away? What happened? Precipitous drop. But within a while, it was back to normal. They're going to be back screaming, yelling, freaking out, losing their mind, hair on fire, oh my God, because they've got nothing else.
In an interview with the AP, 45-year-old Zayad Onella from San Diego summed up why he's no longer watching. Quote, I felt they spent all this time talking about the election. They made it so much of their focus, and when the main event ends, why would people want to keep watching? Viewers are also tuning out because they don't like the product, which they described as shallow and one-sided and made them feel like they're being yelled at. Here's what people say would get them to tune back in. Start talking about the issues and stop talking about Trump. Get both sides and do more research. Although getting a better product may be difficult, over the last few years, all three cable outlets have cut staff and budgets, so the remaining employees are trying to figure out how to fill the 24-hour news cycle with less resources.
Simple. Talent. You find talent that can carry because they're entertaining. You find talent that can do stuff and deliver something that the people want. That's the easiest thing to do. Go and find that talent. Who can look forward? I'll tell you guys this now because I'm new here. My show, we're the exhausted majority. 75, 80% of us believe pretty much a lot of the same, a little bit to the right, maybe a smidge to the left, but for the most part, it's where we are, and we're exhausted. You find talent. It can overcome the lack of this or the lack of that. But when you're insulting to people, when you lie to them, when you push narratives that aren't real, when you're downright mean, people aren't going to hang out with you. You know who gets away with that? House. You know who? And we're fine with that. There's a reason that everybody watched American Idol at first. We wanted to see the worst people get roasted. We enjoyed that. I mean, it sounds horrible, but it's true. But it was entertaining because it was done in a way of real, because reality. It wasn't a lie. You weren't doing it just to be mean. You were being honest. Right? Simon Cowell was being honest. Dude, you suck. You shouldn't sing. You hurt. People who are deaf are crying because you're so bad. That's how bad you are. That was real. I mean, he took it a step too far. We watched the TV show House because he was mean, but he also told the truth. And he did it in such an entertaining way. They've missed the boat. There is no entertaining with them. It's mean for the sake of mean. And on top of that, they lied. They pushed narratives that weren't real. But there are ways around, quote unquote, well, they cut budgets, they did this. Yes, they may have. But there are plenty of shows out there that are entertaining as hell to watch on streaming services, places like YouTube, that are great. They don't have a huge budget. They have a tiny budget. And yet they're making it work. Why is that? Because they're entertaining. They're real. They're talking about real things and they're doing it in an entertaining way, which is, at the end of the day, still the thing that matters most. I'm just throwing it out there. Coming up, our buddy Matt. I'm going to join the program. I saw him walking around here. I wasn't here yesterday. Starting the 2nd, so that is next Thursday, it is really go time. These are our soft openings, right? Like if you go to a cookie store may open up, they'll have a soft opening the weekend before their grand opening. Yes, sir.
Restaurants and bars do it with regularity.
There you go. So this is our soft opening, but starting the 2nd, it is full go time. Matt, of course, in the afternoons, me, noon to 3. My name's Chad Benson. Follow me across all of my social media at Chad Benson Show. It's your Twitter, your Instagram. We got the YouTube, Chad Benson Show TV, a bunch of other stuff. Check us out. This is the Chad Benson Show at Supertalk 99.7. It is that time of the day. It's wrapping up on the Friday here on the Chad Benson Show. So, Matt, yesterday you kicked it off. Afternoons. I was telling everybody it's our soft opening.
That's right.
Because next
we're working out the kinks. We're making sure that everybody knows the recipes.
Yeah.
Everybody knows the menu items. All of our waiters and waitresses, understand where everything is.
All the card swiping is working.
That's right.
All that stuff.
All of that's working before we do the big grand opening. But here, hold on a second. Hold on. So yesterday was it was the Chad Benson Show.
Yes.
And you already had a day off? What kind of contract did you get?
I have no idea.
One very similar to yours.
Bell and I were talking about it because I'm like, I'll see you Thursday. And he's like, no, you won't. I'm like, what? Because I had no idea that I wasn't going to be in because I didn't know what the schedule. Because our fearless leader is like, you want to work some of these days? And it's your vacation from your other show. And I'm like, yeah, you work some. We'll be surprised for you too.
We're gluttons for punishment.
We are.
I mean, Dan Mandis has the week off and he's working Red Eye Radio.
Yeah, that's bizarre.
It is. Dan
doesn't quite understand the vacation concept.
He truly is. I mean, I don't say a glutton for punishment because I think he loves it, but I don't understand how that head works.
No.
I mean, I love him, but I don't get it.
Because I'm just like I do my show and I come in here and this is supposed to be my time off because normally that's kind of the way I plan it. And then when all of this happened, I'm like, they said, well, will you? And my other company's like, well, don't work too much, dude. You've worked all year and really need to take a lot of time off. And I'm like, well, first of all, I love doing it. But secondly, it's like, yeah, I'm here.
It's all good.
So you and I were talking about immigration because that's the battle that's and I wish because a lot of people are angry because not quite understanding the fact that you get as well as I is so many of these jobs that Vivek and Elon are talking about. Americans, they can do those jobs. No, they can't. We don't have those people
We don't have
yet.
enough of them.
No. We have some, but not enough.
We can't do all of the things simultaneously that would need to happen in order to do all of the things simultaneously that some of the 100%ers want to happen.
Yeah.
Right? So if you want to lessen our dependence on Chinese goods, for example, then you better start educating the American people in our school systems in a way where they can produce some of the goods that we get from China. Simultaneously to that, you can start decreasing H-1B visas if you want, but all of that takes time.
Yeah.
And if you cut it off immediately, you are going to, I won't say destroy, but you're going to significantly harm the American economy.
100%.
And consumers better be ready to pay a hell of a lot more for goods and services because they won't be getting some of that from foreign sources.
And it's frustrating because I want that. I think a lot of people want that. My issue is it doesn't happen overnight. And you want a magic wand. So many people want a magic wand to fix this. If we open up the big chips thing, we have nobody to man that. We're going to have to bring them over. They're going to have to train our people. It takes a while. One of the things we were talking about earlier, and I'm a big believer in this, if you're going to school and we need this, your education is virtually free. If you want to be a gender studies major with a minor in interpretive dance, that's
Right.
$200,000 a semester.
That's exactly right. And by the way, we'll give you a student loan if you're in engineering, and if you make all A's, we'll forgive your student loan. How about that?
There's something like that.
Yeah, whatever.
We need these things, but we also have to
Incentivize it.
Teach where we're going, not
Do
where
you
we're
think,
at.
real quick, do you think Vivek was right? I'm gonna go through why Vivek is absolutely 100% correct that we honor and we bow before the wrong idols in American society.
100%. He is Matt Murphy. He is Straight Ahead. My name's Chad Benson. This is Chad Benson Show.